Yes, welcome to the latest Brain or Shine webinar. I'm Mark, and this is Jules, if you haven't met us before. And below us we have Dom, who we're going to introduce in a moment. Just to give you a little bit of backstory, I'm the one with the brain injury. Jules is the one that lives with my brain injury every day as well. So the whole idea behind Brain or Shine is to offer support to those people within the brain injury community, which is something that we didn't have in the early days, wasn't it?
No, we were left in what I described the wilderness for quite some time, which was very frustrating and difficult. So we didn't want anybody else to have to go through some of the very difficult times that we did. So we're all about education, really.
Yeah, too right. And that leads us on to introducing Dom, who we're absolutely delighted. We catch up quite regularly with Dom from Slater and Gordon. We're always delighted with these guys because they've supported Brain or Shine so much for about 18 months now, you guys have. And we actually met you at the Headway Awards when I won the Headway Award, which was an amazing day. And you kind of came on board and supported us with all these webinars. And I know you've supported lots of people within the brain injury community from Brain or Shine as well. We've heard rave reports and testimonials from people that have been in touch, which is amazing. And one thing that I've found as well is with everybody at Slater and Gordon that we've spoken to, so we've always had ideas. We've never as much needed legal advice ourselves, but we've had lots of questions that we wanted to ask. And the best thing about your team, Dom, is that everybody always answers it. And we always sort of sometimes have this big myth that lawyers are fancy guys in suits that charge lots of money for lots of things, and they're really, really hard to talk to. And that is absolutely not the stereotype of anything at all with Slater and Gordon. So we're always honoured and pleasure to work with you guys, and really, really pleased to hear what you're going to talk about today as well.
Wow, I'm not quite sure how to follow that up in any way. Thanks, Mark and Jules. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody online for joining me. My name's Dominic Smith. I'm technically an operations manager and a relationships manager. I've been with the firm for 26 years, would you believe? Yes, I know I look only 21, I know. My role as an operations manager, just simply put, is to make sure my lawyers have the best tools and the right tools to be able to get the best outcomes for our clients. I look after 3 departments nationally. I'll be talking about some of this in the presentation today as well. Those 3 departments are the clinical medical negligence department, the injuries abroad, so when people go overseas and have accidents, and the education law. Education law is for children with special educational needs. I also have, and this is the fun part of my role, apart from working with amazing lawyers, part of my role is a relationships manager, and at the moment with our charity partners, and at the moment I look after about 60 to 70 charity partners across England, Scotland and Wales. That includes Brain or Shine, these guys here, includes a number of other brain injury charities as well, which I'll go through. So who are we? We're one of the UK's leading claimant law firms, originally from Australia, hence, which is where I'm from, hence my funny accent. Slater and Gordon was founded in 1935 and developed itself into the best and biggest claimant law firm in Australia. Then in 2012, it decided to come over and spread its wings into sunny UK, and it did that by the acquisition of a law firm called Russell Jones and Walker, RJW. It then went on to acquire quite a number of firms, and I moved over to the UK business in 2014 to help them with that acquisition. As a result of all of those acquisitions in the year 2017, we decided that we were going to separate from the Australian business and fly on our own. And as a result, we set up ourselves as an independent law firm, and still today are the biggest, well, second biggest claimant law firm in the UK. Whilst we do have some connection to the Australian business, we're totally separate to them as well. As a result of all of that, and since 2017, we've expanded and developed to become one of the leading legal services in the UK. We have approximately 1,000 clients at any one point in time across 12 locations, and we take on approximately 9,000 cases every year. Yes, that's right. As an example, sorry, we have 1,000 colleagues at any point in time. As an example, in clinical medical negligence, we have approximately 2,500 clients at any one point in time. So we're a big firm. We've got offices all around the UK. I'm not sure if you can see that on the screen, but they're the main offices there. Our main head office is in Manchester. Other main offices are obviously Cardiff, Edinburgh, Scotland, London, Liverpool, Newcastle, Sheffield, Brighton. What's most important is that although we have all these offices around the country, because of the wonderfulness of remote working and where our people are located, it makes no difference where our office is at the end of the day. We want to support you, and wherever you are, we'll make sure that we do our best to either see you in person or online. So our areas of law and specialisms, what's really important to understand whenever you engage a law firm or a lawyer is that they have the right accreditations and they are specialists in their area of law. It's really, really, really important to understand that not the average, your average lawyer is not able to actually support you across all areas of law. You might hear about a high street law firm and where they cover a number of areas of law, and one lawyer might do personal injury, medical negligence, and wills, trust, and probate. That means that the person is not a specialist in those areas of law, or at least doesn't practice as a specialist lawyer in those areas. One of the easiest way of understanding whether a law firm or a lawyer is accredited or a specialist is by their accreditations. All lawyers and law firms must be part of the Solicitors Regulations Authority, which is called the SRA, and if possible, be accredited for personal injury and clinical medical negligence. Other organizations to be part of our Association of Personal Injury Lawyers, APL, and ABMA, Action Against Medical Accidents. Most law firms should also be Lexcel accredited. As I said before, we are a full-service law firm. That means that we cover the following areas of law, and we're specialists in those areas of law. So that's personal injury and serious injuries. So, for example, road traffic accidents and collisions, clinical and medical negligence, injuries abroad, industrial disease such as exposure to asbestos and mesothelioma, employment law, family law, wills and probate, court of protection, education and law, as I mentioned before, and abuse and public inquiries. I put on this slide here some of these icons. As I say, these are the icons that you should look at and look out for. If you visit a law firm's website, other than ours, of course, this is what you should be looking for. You should see some ticks. You should see that they're trusted, that they've got the experience that they've got, and that they do provide expert legal advice. We're not just a law firm. It's really important to understand this. Yes, I do work with some amazing lawyers, and yes, they are specialists in the law firm and their areas of law. But what's really important about Slater & Gordon is that we want the person who contacts us at every stage of their pathway to have the most enjoyable and smooth as possible journey. Every person that contacts us is going through something traumatic, whether it's as a result of a personal injury, issues at the workplace, issues within the workplace, or trauma within the family, and separation or breakdown of their family relationships. As a result of this holistic approach, we have within our firm rehabilitation coordinators. These are people who have worked in the NHS, they know how the NHS works, and they work with us on a private basis. They connect people who have had accidents to make sure that they have the best and appropriate rehabilitation for them. We also have somebody who is a very dear colleague of mine, Caroline. She's a relationships coordinator. She sustained a spinal cord injury many years ago, and unfortunately became paralyzed from the T3 down. She speaks to anybody who has been diagnosed with a spinal cord injury or cord recliner, whenever they contact us in the first instance. And because of her lived experience, she's able to support them both from a legal perspective, because she's a lawyer, but also from a holistic perspective in terms of those practical day-to-day things. We also have former police officers. You may know them as FLOs, Family Liaison Officers. They work with us. Sadly, when people go through road traffic accidents, they need the support of these guys, and they are able to connect them to other flows within this police services, but also to our amazing lawyers. Within the clinical medical negligence team, we also have midwives. We've got 3 at the moment, midwives, and we've got 2 nurses, all of whom are NHS registered. It's this holistic approach that I think and feel gives us a difference to other law firms. Externally, we have access to some of the UK's most leading barristers throughout in all the areas of law. We have medical experts, case managers, and allied health professionals. We also rely heavily on independent financial advisors. These are people who provide us, well, as it says, a financial advice to anybody making a claim for compensation, both in terms of their settlement of that compensation, as well as during the case in terms of anything relating to their loss of income and things like that. We also have access to accommodation experts, as well as our other charity partners, which I'll talk about in a bit. Our charity partnerships, what makes us amazing and what I believe is part of the amazing work we provide is that we have a number of charities, as to you before. I've got access to about 60 to 70 charities nationally, but the firm has about 80 charity partners across the UK, England, Scotland, and Wales. We understand the pressures upon statutory bodies such as the NHS. They're just not able to support people going through traumatic experiences. And unfortunately, sometimes it's not appropriate for them to be supporting these people. Just think about a family whose child has been diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It's highly unlikely that that family would want to go back to the trust whereby their mother gave birth to their child who has now sustained and developed cerebral palsy. As a result, amazing charities such as Brain and Shine, we rely on them very, very heavily. They cross-refer and signpost people into us, and as a result, we will also do the same. These charity partners provide that support that just is not available otherwise. I've listed some charities there. It's not an exhaustive list. The Child Brain Injury Trust, we're on their panel. Brain Tumour Support, we're on their parent panel as well. The Patients Association, See Potential, which is a cerebral palsy charity, Cerebral Palsy Cymru, and Cerebral Palsy Scotland. What's really important is that even though we may not be able to support a client in terms of a claim for compensation, they may be able, we will definitely signpost them to a charity so that the charity can support them after instructions have ended. Just as importantly, when clients settle their cases for compensations, they want to support those charities, and they will also help out with those charities doing fundraising events, etc., and promote the charity to other people going through the same experiences. As I say, one of the UK's largest leading law firm, we want to provide legal advice to anybody who's connected to all our charity partners. We can do this by providing free online and in-person legal clinics throughout the UK. We can also provide education sessions like this one about any areas of the specialisms that I mentioned before, and I think we've done this with Brain and Shine as well over the past 18 months. We have a free online wills portal, so if you need a free online will, please get in contact with me. I'm happy to direct you to them. And of course, like any charity, they're only successful if they have the funds to be able to operate. So invariably, most charities will not get funding from any statutory body. They will constantly have to fundraise to keep the charity alive. On average, most charities need about anywhere between £200,000 to £600,000 a year just to survive. That's their general operating costs. If they don't raise that money, then unfortunately their services do end up closing. So fundraising for events is huge. A lot of my teams will be jumping out of planes, climbing mountains, baking cakes, you name it, they'll do it. We obviously can't support every single charity event, but we'll support as many as we possibly can. What's really important for us and for me is to make sure that our charity partners are aware of each other. So it's essential that those charities, because they have so much in common, those charities meet, talk, have exchange those common themes and share their ups and downs. That collaboration is really, really important to us. I feel like I've talked to you for about 15 minutes at you, and I apologize, but that was my presentation. It's plain and simple and to the point, I hope. If you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to take them now, or if you want to get my contact details from Mark and Jules, I'm more than happy for you to email me on the side.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.
No, that was brilliant in terms of, yes, to the point, but very educational as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think some of the messages that have come through is saying that there's far too much pressure on charities and other organisations and cuts in the NHS and everything. It's very difficult.
It's unbelievable, especially in the last 12 months to 18 months. The charity and hospice sectors have felt the pinch hugely. The governments have reduced the amount of money that they're going to support externally, especially with hospices. And so now a number of hospices are actually closing down because of that. Same with charities. The pool is getting smaller and smaller in terms of funding. And unfortunately, we can't fund every charity either. And they're finding it harder to find funders from private industry as well. You're spot on there.
Yeah, where we're from in Northampton, a place that's been open for I don't know how long.
Oh, years. Isn't it? Yeah. As long as I can remember.
Yeah, that's closing down because of lack of funding.
Yeah.
It's shocking because it's always been there. It's a place. It's massive. It's a huge place. They did such phenomenally good work, but they just haven't got.
And you sort of meet 1 in 10 people you will have worked there at some point, you know, or know somebody who's worked there. So it's ridiculous, really. But
they're part of the community, these charities, you know, like you said, like yourself. Without them, so many people would not get the support that they would normally need.
Yeah.
No, this is it. I mean, it was a phenomenally big hospital, so they would have people from all sorts of areas, very much the same as you. So specialisms in quite a number of things. So it was quite vital in that whole of the county, to be fair. But I don't know.
I think, I guess a few sort of questions I thought of earlier. How long is a piece of string? As in, how long does a claim normally take to settle?
Right. Okay. It's a good question. No, it is. On average, we say probably, and also it does depend on the type of claim. So a personal injury, serious injury case could be settled very quickly or quicker than a clinical medical negligence claim. We say on average, anywhere between 2 to 5 years is your rough time frame for your stand-of-the-mill. No major problems involved. Liability is generally admitted and things like that. We say about 2 to 5 years. There are extremes, obviously. If a person has had a major serious injury in a road traffic accident, they're young, we may not know what their prognosis is. For example, brain injuries. You know, we need people to develop into their adulthood to understand the exact impact of the brain injury, as an example. So that could take a little bit longer. Likewise, as the example I mentioned before, we've got children who have been diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Those children are probably not diagnosed or formal diagnosed until about age 2. And as you'll appreciate, we need to understand what they're going to develop and how they're going to develop over many, many years before we would want to settle their cases. So we could have a cerebral palsy case for 15 years. We're part of their family, they're part of our family, so to speak. We try and settle them as quickly as possible because obviously we don't want to be in our clients' lives all the time, but that's just not possible in some circumstances.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my understanding also is that you, in terms of any sort of like financial help, because if some case is going to be over a long period of time, then sometimes there's that need, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So just briefly, just on that point, Jules, there's a good point to raise. What generally will happen is that when liability of your case is being admitted, whether it's a personal injury or clinical negligence case, what we ask for is what's called an interim payment. And an interim payment is basically where we're saying to the defendant, hi, this person has suffered as a result of the trauma. We believe and we need you to give us some money as a defendant because you've admitted liability so that this person can get back to some form of normality. And that could be as a result of the person requiring to see a case manager, to get a case management plan in place. They might need some psychotherapy. They might need treatment of other kinds. They may need adjustments to their accommodation. There's a whole plethora of things that the person can do with that interim payment. Physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, you name it. So we would put that argument to the defendant and we would try and secure that. And it's really essential to do that as soon as their liability is admitted, because as I say, the person can then use that money to actually get their back to some form of normality.
Yeah. And I think that's very vital, not just for the person, but the family around them as well, because
absolutely.
terrible situations in some cases.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. You know, as you both know, it's not only about the person who has gone through that trauma. It's about the mum, the dad, the brother, the sister, the aunts, the uncles, the grandparents, etc. You know, everybody who is connected to that person will be supporting them in some form or other, and they need some support around that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We have a number of charity partners who also only support the family members and not the person with the trauma as well. So it's really, really important to understand that there's help there and support there for everybody going through these traumatic experiences.
Yes, that's really, for me personally, I think is fascinating, because I didn't even know there was such a thing, and it wasn't until we were a good way through our journey where I actually felt I was the one that was making this all up, and I was the one that was going mad, and that, there was nothing wrong with Mark. It was just me. And it wasn't until somebody came around and said, my gosh, what has happened to Mark? He's not the same person. And that I just fell to pieces, I'll be quite honest, because I felt validated for the first time in a number of years, you know, and I had nowhere to go with it.
Exactly. I was just going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, just one of the most isolating experiences for people. And unless you know, and unless you speak to people who've gone through similar circumstances and had that empathy to be able to understand and support practically, financially, all of the above, then you're not going to be able to get through that. And that's what's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're sadly seeing, unfortunately, a lot more inquiries and people coming through to us from our charity partners around employment and family law. As I said, mentioned before, people being discriminated against in the workplace, either the person who's being injured or their family member, because they're having to take more time off than is required or allowed to. Sadly, you know, as people go through traumatic experiences within the family dynamic, that can sometimes deteriorate. So we're seeing a lot more people asking for advice around those two areas as well.
Yeah, I can imagine, totally, because those are the two main sort of things that you have in your life, isn't it? And you need to be able to do them. But when you mentally and physically cannot do that anymore, it's really hard to try and explain that to an employer and have them have that understanding. And that's something that we try and do, but we don't get a lot of come back from employers.
No, I mean it's something that I experienced myself when I was freelancing. I was traveling quite a lot and I didn't understand what fatigue was, so I didn't realize why maybe I wasn't performing so well when I was delivering sessions in schools as a school speaker. And I remember getting told, oh, you've made some mistakes, or so and so's given some, you know, not favorable feedback or something like that. And I really didn't understand why. And it wasn't until a few years down the line I thought, oh, actually, that makes sense, because I was more detaching myself from people within, maybe in the staff room, or when I first got to the school or something like that. At the end of the day, I was like, right, I'm done, I'm out the door. And I think if I understood the side effects of the brain injury at the time, I could explain to people and maybe show them my headway card or something like that and say, look, just to let you know, I'm absolutely fine when I'm delivering on stage, but I do struggle with noise, and here's my headway card and things like that. So that might have made a difference, but
it's all these little tools, as you say, Mark, you know, people don't know about, and until they talk to other people going through the exact same or similar experiences, they get the validation, as you were saying before, Jules. They get the validation of, oh my gosh, it's not just me.
So we're not making this up. This is actually happening. And somebody that's on the session has said, the same with his girlfriend said the same. They were thankful for Headway for their help. So
without a doubt.
It raised an amazing national charity, as you guys know as well.
Again, we've linked with them quite a lot, personally and through Brainwash Island, and they're absolutely wonderful. We're actually attending a big conference in October, I think, isn't it? Yeah, where they want us to go and talk again, so they can lobby the powers to be to say, look, you told us you're going to give us more funding and you're actually cutting it. So what's going on here? So hopefully being part of that is really, really massive for us if we can do our bit on that. So,
there's two in the brain injury sector. There's two big bodies. One is called UKBIF,
Yes.
the United and Acquired Brain Injury Forum, and the other one is Babacom. And Babacom is for the case managers.
Yes.
So if you're ever dealing with a case manager, there's two requirements that you should ask them if they are part of. One is Babacom, and the other one is ICM, which is the Register of Case Managers. They are the peak bodies, and they're the ones who should know what these people should be doing and regulate what these people are doing as well. Apart from them being CQC qualified as well.
Yes.
Kareem, Brain Tumor Support is a brilliant charity as well, where we partner with them as well.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to everybody, Mark and Jules and the charity and everybody online. Thank you for taking the time. I know it's not great after hours and things like that, but thank you for allowing me to speak to you. If you've got any questions, whatever it is about the law, about my areas of law, my people, my charities, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me. You've got my email address there.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And again, thank you for your time, Dom. As always, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everybody who's joined us this evening. As Dom says, echoing his thoughts there, we do appreciate you giving up your time and supporting the Brain or Shine community. Just to let you know, a few things that are coming up. We have another webinar, which will be next month. We haven't scheduled the date yet, so do keep an eye on all the social media and newsletters that come out. We'll also send out a recording of this, which will be available on our Facebook page, but also on the YouTube channel. We have our next podcast episode coming out next week, I believe, and our latest blog as well. So there's lots and lots of information. Blog,
podcast is 2 weeks.
Yeah, newsletter, social media platform, and our Facebook peer-to-peer support group. Just do the ones that work for you. Don't try and do them all, because it will overstimulate you. It overstimulates us sometimes. So yes, please do pick the ones that work for you.
Yes.
And if you know anybody we can support or help as well, just please pass on Brain or Shine, whether it's your family, your friends, or somebody else you've met through the brain injury community. It could just be one little bit of information that they get from the community, which really, really helps. And also have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.